Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Smokin, Silz, and Brad Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
Oh, yeah, it is Monday night. I got it right this week, see? Monday night, 5:30 p.m. Central Time. I am Smokin, Silz. This is the Ref Room. I am joined by my man, Brad Baumruck. We are here to talk hockey. We've got a great guest joining us today. He did have a little problem getting on with us, so he's going to come to us via telephone. So he's on his Android, so we are going to bring him in. He is a legend. As far as the hockey community is concerned, I know he's got more than 500, almost 600, maybe more, 600 NHL plus games. He's in the Illinois Hockey Hall of Fame. He's beaten the hell out of a few Chicago Blackhawks over his career.
He has.
Yeah, he is a St. Louis Blues guy, and yet he's in the Blackhawks rink like every day. So he is the man. He is the hockey director for the Chicago Mission, and that is my man Gino Cavallini joining us live. Gino, welcome to the Ref Room.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
We're glad you're here. I wish we could have got your video up here with us, but just one of those things. So I'm glad you're on with us. We got lots to talk about, and we're certainly going to open it up to you for whatever you want to go through. But I think we should just start right now. I mean, the Olympics have started, and my gosh, how many of your players are playing in the Olympics, including your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter-in-law was a Mission. I mean, we've got 6 former Mission players. They played over the years. They played here varying times. Most recent is Abby Murphy, and then Jesse Comfer. And then you go a little older is Savannah Harmon, and then obviously then the 3 older ones are Megan Bozak.
Yep.
And then we all know Kendall Coyne, and my daughter-in-law, who was Alex Rigsby, is now Alex Cavallini. So
there you go.
It's pretty cool.
That's an amazing accomplishment. You should be very proud of what you've done to help all those girls get to that point. So good for you.
Yeah, well, I can't take the credit for. I coached Alex, and the credit goes to like a Tony Ketchy and Aaron Rourke and Tom Mandarino. They were the ones that have been around since mid 2000s on the girls side. So I can't take all the credit for that.
Yeah, well, we're excited, and I know I'm kind of thrilled because I know I've done a few of the games that Abby played in, and I've seen her score some incredible goals during the state tournaments here in Chicagoland, and it's pretty cool even for us to sit there and go, wow, I reffed that person. I know it was the same thing when we had one of the guys go to the NHL that went to the Kings recently. To be able to go, wait, wow, I reffed that guy when he was like a Bantam. It's pretty incredible.
Alex, that's Turcotte.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to say, but yeah, it's Mr. Turcotte himself. So,
well, hey, Scott, the officials aren't lacking in this district that we have.
Yeah.
Here. There's actually 4 that have lived here in Illinois that are working in the Olympics. So Billy Hancock, Stefan Renault, who is from Kansas City. He just flew out there the other day. I don't know the whole story on how he ended up out there because he wasn't originally slotted to work. And then Sarah Strong lived here for a while, and then Kendall Handley lived here a while too. Yeah. So the district's doing pretty good, even though, everybody could be a transplant from other places, but we'll still take credit.
That's right. We definitely will. And it's pretty cool because, I've skated with 2 of those people. You've probably skated with all 4 of them, Brad, I'm sure.
I've skated with all 4 of them, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Great people. People.
So tell me, were you disappointed that you weren't able to go over there as a family member? Because originally, you would normally get to go, and unfortunately, with what's going on, I understand that they're putting together a viewing party. So are you going to attend that? I think USA Hockey's put something together that's very special for the families and immediate family members. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know what? We got the immediate family members got invited. So we got invited to go out to Park City, Utah, and you could pick. You're able to pick like one of the 3 or 4. One of the 3 or 4 times that you could go. But just the way my schedule when I can go, my Alex's her mom and dad, one of her brothers went. My older son, her husband went. Aiden went. So they're out there right now. It's pretty cool. I mean, it was real nice of them to do it. I mean, it's disappointing that we weren't able to go, and not that I know, not that anyone would have been thrilled to go there at this time, and in this environment, but, you can still cheer and watch her online.
Absolutely. So we've got some questions. We kind of want to talk to you about a few different things today, and I'm going to let Brad kick it off because we had some questions with regard to the rules. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff with you, if that's okay. We're going to fly fast because I know you have an A-High board meeting at 6:30, so we do have a hard stop at that point. But Brad and I may continue with some stuff that we've encountered over the last couple weeks. So, Brad, take it away with a couple of your questions on the...
Well, the first thing is I know that you've been directly impacted with injuries from head contact and late hits and all that stuff where the new checking standard has come from. A lot of officials are confused by the new standard. And, I know that you have a much better insight from being from the coach's side on why they put this standard in and what your thoughts are on it. And I think that's my question, basically, why they did this and what your take is on it and what your thoughts are.
I mean, the why was, is because of the increase in injuries, right? Concussions and whatnot. And I think, you could see even in the last 5 to 10 years, like the 15, 16-year-olds are not, they're athletes now. They're training teams, like we've got, our girls and boys are on the ice 2 or 3 times a week. They're doing off ice with professional trainers. So the game's faster, the kids are stronger, and subsequently the contact, the players are getting hurt. So I don't mind if you're going to, I grew up in an era where, you got paid to blow guys up. Like you weren't playing the puck, you were playing the body, right? So now, we're trying to teach our players, like, you got to make an effort to play the puck if you're gonna blow someone up. Like you just can't go in there and just lay a guy out. And I think at our club and the local tier 1 clubs, I think they do a pretty good job. Guys aren't running around. We're trying to showcase their skill. And, obviously there's a skill to the body contact, but, that's not what we're not teaching. You're not going to go somewhere because you're a great body checker, right? You're going to go somewhere because you can think the game and you can play the game. Obviously contact is part of it. We want to make sure we're teaching our players to use to have the contact, to play that way, the right way. And honestly, it's almost like how the girls are taught. The girls are taught to angle out with a focus on the body and puck, and then they kind of rub each other out. They rub each other out along the boards. There's no open ice hits in girls hockey, and that's where like even over the course of this weekend, I watched a couple of midget games where there was just kids got hit so hard, you're surprised they even got up. And that's not. That's where we're going with this game. The game is a skill game, and that's you never want to see kids get hurt, especially when it, like I'm 60 and I'm just starting to deal with, head issues, and the doctor that I go see basically said, you grew up in an era when youth hockey and then professional hockey. You were in a rear end accident twice a game. That's the kind of impact.
Yeah, I get
you're
it.
used to, and we're trying to prevent that now. Let's play the game the way it should be played, and the violence. There's no place for that kind of violence anymore. And that's what's. We're trying to keep the players safe, and this is the first big step in that.
I agree with that. Can I ask you a personal opinion? Because you travel all around the country and experience officials from several different areas. Is it being upheld across the board, across the country in the same way? Because USA Hockey this year, it was the first time that they had given out to us big anchors of information and wanted us to teach USA Hockey. So I'm curious if it is transferring across the country, or you don't have to name any spots where you think it might be lacking, but if officials are doing it and upholding it across the country is my question. I mean, or some places doing it, some places aren't, different officials. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
We're in Detroit a lot, and I mean it's like the guys that we get especially at the older levels here. I mean, it's managed as well as could be. I mean, I've not really noticed like where I've come out of a weekend saying, oh my God, those guys, someone's going to get hurt. Those guys were terrible. That's not the case at all. I mean, I got a lot of respect for what you guys do. Like someone tweeted out this morning, you want to criticize ref a game first, see how hard it is to keep up with everything. And I retweeted that because that's like spot on. Like, you think it's easy being out there. Everyone in the stands are yelling at you for the wrong reasons. You got coaches, then you got kids where, even, 13, 14, 15-year-olds feel like it's okay to talk back to an adult, whether you got stripes on your arm or not, it makes no difference. Like, there's just a lack of decorum, but I really haven't seen where in one part of the country it's lacking and other parts they do a better job. For what I've seen, in my experiences, it's handled like that, especially that head contact. I mean, it's handled the right way. Some places, or you may run into some guys that are a lot more stricter and aren't going to take the crap. But you know what? Like as coaches, we're waiting. We don't want to see any of our guys get hurt, and a lot of times, I mean, I'll even if I know it's going to be a rough game and I'm coaching in it, I might give the ref a heads up, just to basically say, this game could get out of hand. It's okay if you're going to throw guys in the penalty box early and set the tone, just to remind them, like you guys have the ability to control that as well, right? So let's work. I'll do my job. You guys do your job, and the players will be safe.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that about, like the referee situation, like try doing one of these games, because I understand that we just had a situation maybe a week ago, maybe less than a week ago. There was a game, a U18 AAA game that didn't have any refs assigned to it. Don't know what happened. Not trying to go there. It's, it's just one of those things. But apparently a couple of guys that might be coaches that played like D1 hockey and above jumped out on the ice to work that game. One of the coaches told me he got flattened like four times out there. Another one was like, oh my God, it looks so easy from the bench. It's not that easy getting around out there. And then I think one of the scorekeeper might have said, well, I think the referees try to skate with their legs on the ice most of the game. And he tried that in the second period, got a little bit better for him. But, learning positioning when you got 18-year-olds coming at you at high speed, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get blasted out there. And I think they learned the hard way that it might not be as simple as it looks.
Yeah, 6'5" coming at you, going 20 miles an hour. Is still 6'5" coming at you, going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a freight train.
Sorry.
I've run practices where depending on the year, there's instances where if I didn't know where certain players were on the ice, I was in trouble. Like I had to know where, some midgets are skating around with their heads down, and you think they see you and they don't see anything, and all of a sudden you're 4 or 5 feet in the air because this kid just ran you over. I mean, I can remember when I retired in Milwaukee, I coached a Bantam team up there, and I had a kid on the team that caught me in practice. Had no idea. Like, I saw him sliding to me, and he was getting up while he was moving. I saw him and try to jump over. He kept rising. So now he's under me, and he throws me about 7 feet in the air. I came down. I thought I was dead. Like, and this is like right out of retirement, so I was still in game shape.
Yeah, well,
so at the end of the season, he was going to Madison. So poor Bob, he's not with us anymore. But Bob Suter would never return my call. So I finally saw Bob in the fall, and I said, "Hey, Bob, I just heads up. This boy is on the ice with you. You got him." He goes, "Yeah, I didn't mean to recruit him." I'm like, "No, I just wanted to warn you. Make sure you know where he is on the ice all the time." so like 2 months later in Chicago, we're at a tournament. Maybe it might have even been the World Invite, and I see him, and he comes walking over, and he goes, "Oh my God, I was 7 feet in the air, and I remember your words. Make sure you know where he is at all times." I mean, it's not as easy as kudos to you guys, man. I mean, it's not easy getting around out there, and you're dealing with 10 guys full of piss and vinegar. Like,
yeah, that's accurate.
It's no easy chore.
I got picked up once by 2 Chicago guys playing in a junior game, and it's funny because one, his dad happens to be John Dunn, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, and another Chicago guy, and they hit each other in this game, and I was like, uh-oh, they're coming at me, but they were already at my knees, and they hit me, and it picked me up and literally put me face to ice.
Ouch.
And I was like 4 or 5 feet in the air with my feet above me, and I'm like, this is gonna hurt. And I landed right on my face. I broke my nose. I was bleeding all over. Luckily, Karen, who watches the show and comments all the time, was there. I went over, I brought, she's like, "I got a question for you. Was your nose crooked before?" I'm like, "No." I go, "I can see it." She goes, "I think it's broke." She's like, "And you need some stitches. You want some glue?"
Clean up in aisle 2. Clean up in aisle 2.
And I can tell you, I was on the ice for only like a fraction of a second, but I literally was down, and I'm like, I think I'm just going to stay here. I'm like, no, get up. But good part of this too, I brought Karen because we had a game the next day, and this is a good tip for all the players out there. You can be nice to trainers every once in a while and referees. I brought Karen a card the next day because we had the game the next day, and it said thank you, and she still hangs that in her office. And every year that she has new players come in, she always tells them all about the only person that ever brought her a card was a referee. So be nice to us.
Our special guest today is Gino Cavallini, former St. Louis Blues player and star and hockey director of Mission. A couple more things we wanted to kind of go over. I know you're supposed to have nationals here in Chicago coming up in March, I believe the end of March. Is it going to be at Fifth Third, do you think? Or are you guys going to have to relocate venues if things don't change around here?
That's week by week. I mean, right now we plan on hosting it at Fifth Third, so I think we've got to drop that date out there. But as of right now, it's going to be hosted at Fifth Third.
Oh, good. I'm hoping it's at Fifth Third personally, but I mean, you guys have a contingency plan. It would still stay in the Chicagoland area. You'd just go to a different facility. Is that what would happen, or?
I don't even know. That's out of my outside of my pay grade. I don't know how they would.
There's something outside of your pay grade. Wow, everything's outside of my pay grade. So. All right.
You know what? They did a great. They had to move them. They had to move it last year. I think they moved Nationals to Dallas and St. Louis last year on 2 weeks notice basically. So we're hoping it winds down here and we can still host the event. It would be pretty cool.
I hope so. I think the last time we hosted was in 2010. I think.
Has it been that long?
I can't remember the last time we hosted.
Yeah, it was at Seven Bridges. It was. It could have been 2010. I think our U18 boys might have even won it that year.
Yeah, because I remember I was there. So we were there on Saturday and Sunday. Gino, or Saturday and Friday. I saw you there, Gino. Thanks for saying hi as always.
Yep.
And I think that one scoreboard underneath it said 2010 Nationals, and I think that's the last time we had it. I can't remember though.
That is the last time.
Gino, I'm curious with the AAA organization like yourself, what is the cost for a player to play a season with a high-level AAA team like yourselves?
I mean, it's kind of a range depending on the birth year. You're probably around $7,000 to the older. The midgets are at 11, 10, 5 or 11. So, depending on the birth year and the cost of game. I mean, we factor everything into it: officiating, the cost of ice, the number of games you would play. It's all factored in. So it's a range. It increases as you get older because obviously you go from a squirt major game probably. We block off 80 minutes for a squirt major game, and then you're doing a major midget game. You need a 2-hour block, and then if you want to do 20-minute periods with a cut between periods, it's 2.5 hour blocks. So it's not cheap, right? It's expensive, and it's commensurate to all the underlying costs that you have to host the game.
So when you have somebody that kind of goes through the organization, what can you kind of anticipate for that player moving forward past his AAA hockey? Are most of those guys going to end up with a scholarship at a D1 or D2 or D3 school? Or are they going to go off to junior hockey, play professional? I mean, like, what percentage of your players are able to accomplish that? Like, you had so many of the girls that have made the Olympic team, and you're like the feeder squad for the Olympic team, basically. I'm sure it's the same for some of the other schools and things. What do you do above and beyond that people don't see in the background to get these players into the schools or onto these other teams in other parts of the country to continue their career?
Oh, that's, we historically, our Bantam major team, we're averaging 12 of those players will end up playing Division I.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
All right, so right there, folks, that's worth the price of admission. You're going to get a D1 scholarship. Wow.
There's some years where, there's some birth years like the 2000s or the 96s. I mean, the 96s have, that was my first year back. We might have 5 or 6 players in the NHL off of that one team right now. It depends on the birth year. And then on the girls' side, we're at least 90% or if not 100% placement for the girls to go to play college hockey, whether it's D1 or D3.
That's amazing. Good for you. That is so cool.
If you end up on our U16 team, you're pretty much set on the girls' side. The boys, it's you get late bloomers. You get boys that don't reach puberty until later, and get the growth spurt and their hormones are going. But and then as far as draft picks, we've been really fortunate the last 7-8 years where we've had 3 or 4 draft picks come out of the club, and like I said, depending on the birth year, you got some pretty high end draft picks. You look at the 96 had Nick Schmaltz, Anders Bjork, Christian Dvorak. You got Tishke, Linhart, Seamus Malone, Ryan Wagner, Bobby Nardella. There might be 10 players there playing professional hockey out of that group.
Those guys are 10 years ago, right, Gino? About 10 years ago when they were playing?
Here 10 years ago.
Yeah. I remember those games. Those were a foot race every game, trying to chase your kids down.
Yeah.
Every game, and they used to stretch that pass way out, and it was killer on that Olympic rink.
And then the most recent guys, you got Landon Slaggert. He's a Blackhawk draft pick, and then actually Jacob Perreault played in his first pro game a couple of weeks ago for Anaheim.
Wow.
I mean, those are players like they're 02s. They're 3 years removed from the club. They're not that old. They left when they were 16, and Jacob's not 20 yet. So
wow.
Well, I'm curious.
Cool.
Like when you have your tryouts and stuff, if we're coming through the locker rooms, we see all those bags out in the hallways from all over the country. How many of your players come from out of state and decide to live here just to be able to play with Mission?
We don't. Not as many as you think. I mean, they may play it. I mean, it depends on the year, but and the birth year. Like our midgets, we have a couple of kids from out of state. There might be a handful we might have 5 or 6 on the boys' side, and a couple on the girls' side that are either from Wisconsin or Michigan, but not as many kids out of state as you think.
Okay.
I mean, we've had kids commute from Indianapolis, on a weekly basis, or we had one boy a few years ago. They commuted from Traverse City.
Wow, that's a long ride.
That's a hike.
Until we finally convinced them to bill it, here, and it just. It's tough. You're sending your kids away when they're still young. Like,
well, do they go to school at a local high school here, the ones that come into town, or do they get homeschooled through the team? How does that work?
No, they'll either go to the high school that their billets that the billet family, whatever district they're in, or we even have some local boys, especially after the pandemic. They're at home being homeschooled online at home. There's pretty good accredited programs right now where the boys can study from home, and your top schools in the country like Notre Dame and Yale and Harvard, it's acceptable for them. So there's different options out there certainly for them, especially coming out of the. It's not as odd anymore, especially coming from the out of the pandemic year where it was all virtual to end that year. So
yeah, that was definitely a weird end to the year.
But we don't at our club we don't have as many as you think. We have less than 10 at our club on the boys and girls combined.
I expected more, to be honest with you. I really did, because I saw a lot of those like LA King bags and stuff coming into town, and other teams. It's like, oh, they all want to play for Mission.
Hey, Scott,
they come in to play us too. I mean, it depends on the time of year, but kids will come from everywhere to try out, but it doesn't mean they're good enough to make it, right?
Right.
Well, Gino, you use the word billet family, just so you know, like I know what that is.
Yeah, I know too, because I actually was billeted one night at the owner of the St. Louis Blues house when they owned the team, and I think the Solomon family. Was that during your time or before your time?
No, that was before my time.
I'm dating myself.
I might not be as old. I'm sorry, I might not be as old as you.
Yeah, I got a couple years on you, but don't be too impressed. I think the housekeeper took care of us for the night, and that was about it. We didn't see anybody.
Right.
You were in and you were out, but it was kind of cool to be able to say that anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but so for those of you that don't know what billeting is, it's basically you stay with a host family. And that used to be very common when I was growing up. If we went to Canada for the week for a hockey tournament, I might stay at the postman and his wife's house, and, it was within a couple of blocks that you could walk to the rink, and families took teams in because they didn't have enough hotel rooms to accommodate all these teams. Right. And we didn't have the safe sport stuff that's going on today, going on back then, at least not that we were aware of. So you billeted in people's homes. And, if you don't know about it, it's like a Airbnb for hockey players.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're playing junior hockey now and it's not in Chicago, you're going to be billeted somewhere.
Right.
I mean, my boys have been in, great spots and, not so great spots, but it is what it is. It's a good life experience. That's for sure. And, you just, there's a lot more checks and balances in place now, like you said, than there was in the past.
Yeah. So did you ever referee a game growing up, Gino? Did you ever don the stripes?
I can't say. I may have done one in an alumni game back in like '08 for the Blues, but not where I couldn't play or they didn't have room for a player. So they said, if you want to ref, you can join the refereeing staff. But then, like there wasn't. I was lining the board. I was lining, and I just stayed along both benches and just chirped with the guys the whole time.
Well, that's how the old school referees used to do it. They used to just stand at center ice. They didn't skate.
That's what Zednik does now, right? He doesn't. I've had games where Dave hasn't moved outside of the two blue lines.
Well, he's going to be happy.
Yeah. Do you have some live barn footage to go with this story?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's all mysteriously disappeared.
Right.
I gotta say, I gotta give a shout out to Dave and Billy Furman for helping me through the year with scheduling and changes and corrections and cancellations and oh my God. I mean, honestly, I sent those two guys at least 10 emails today, and I tried to call Dave. I talked to him once. I tried to reach out to him another 5 or 6 times by phone, because I was panicked with the scheduling coming up. Well, yeah, they've been lifesavers.
Yeah, I'm curious. We have a referee shortage right now, and I'm guessing you're probably not as affected by it as a lot of the other clubs because you have so much hockey and it's so high level that people want to work your games. They're going to put in for them. Are you feeling that pain around the country with the other teams that you're playing, and are you feeling it yourselves even at Mission? I mean, are you seeing a difference, or are you getting people that may not be quite as qualified to be on those games as they normally would? They'd be a little more experienced before they get to one of your games?
I mean, our older teams, I mean, you guys do a great job. We get the schedulers and the guys. We don't have an issue locally. I've been in Boston, and I like to talk a little bit before the game starts and just kind of get, especially this year when there is a shortage. And we had a guy from, I don't know, the two guys that refed our game in Boston back in October. One guy was from Florida. The other guy was from Iowa. One of them, he was doing 24 games in less than 3 days, which I don't, just because there's a shortage, or there's a guy, we got a guy in Detroit, and he drives up from across the river in Cincinnati. I think he drives up from Kentucky every weekend. He drives up he drives up Friday afternoon, and he'll ref games Friday, Saturday, and he'll go home Sunday. I mean, that's a
snowy road when it snows too.
Oh yeah,
that's an interesting drive.
Yeah, it's not unique to here, but you know what, Lee? I mean, I'm of the frame of mind like, hey, there's a shortage. Let's deal with it. Let's be respectful and move forward. I don't like I got some younger coaches that'll they'll go off the deep end, and I got to reel them back in. I'm like, hey, these guys are they don't know who's doing us a favor by reffing our games or not, and I just tell them, shut your mouths and coach your team. The other teams, there's no point, right? I mean, the call is a call, and you just deal with it and move on. Like coach your guys up, and it actually, we've had coaches in the past, maybe 7-8 years ago, where the coaches would get all riled up, and then the team would follow. Like, you're a leader, you got to be a role model on the bench, and you got to act accordingly, because these 14, 15, and 16-year-olds are going to follow your lead. So when you go crazy on the bench, what do you think's going to happen on the ice? It's a reflection of how you're behaving, and the games usually turn ugly, And
you sure you weren't a ref, Gino? You sure you weren't a ref? Because that's the song we sing all the time. But
you should see Scott's face right now, Gino. You would. It's classic.
Yeah,
you got him all smiling.
So I got another question for you. So, we have this electronic software this year, and I'm sure a lot of the officials out there have seen, where you have an iPad and you're going out with an iPad to the games. I know, Gino, you were kind of spearheading the program with the iPad software.
Yep.
I just have a question for you. I mean, I would love to really study that in depth and do a little thing on the show to kind of showcase that a little bit more, because I think it's a great product. Sure. But I'm curious as to why the software is not talking from team to team, location to location. Why is there not like a central database when we go out and we do a tournament? We've got to put all of our information back in like every place we go, instead of like putting it in once, like a USA Hockey database, and they'd know who you are and they know like your ref number and all that good stuff. Is there something that's not quite working yet, or can you elaborate on that a little bit?
No, I mean, it just depends. Like if you're doing like, for instance, if you ref when you ref your first HPHL game, you have to input your name. After that, then you just type your first couple of because there's no interface between the referee scheduling or the referee assigner and this database. We'd love to, like right now, we can pull the rosters off the USA database, and we'd love to pull the referee names off of the database. And I know no one wants to give away their contact information, but if we're able to pull the name and your email address, then if you want, then it's already in the system. So right now it goes from, like you do an HPHL game, and now this week we're starting all our state play downs. You'd have to put your name in again. There's no interface because, and every state is done differently. Okay. I think here in Illinois it's the most advanced, thanks to Kenny Michael. And I mean, it'd be great. I'm the U.S. partner with these guys from Canada. In Canada, the referee database is available to import all the information they need. So you guys already loaded into the games, but because of affiliate to affiliate runs it different, then it's we just have to this is how we have to move forward. But I mean the beauty of, like, I was at the winter meetings, they were talking about, how do you track these penalties or whatnot? Like, I should give you guys a demo sometime, because if you go to like hockey, the OMHA, Ontario Minor Hockey Association, I could pull up I could go into the, obviously this is on the back end, so it's not available to everyone. I have access to it because I'm part of the company, but if like, let's say Eric wants to see in Illinois how many head contact penalties there are last weekend, he could pull that information up. Or you could do a search on fighting, or you could do a search on what referee is calling the most slashing, or whatever, unsportsmanlike. I mean, there's so much information available, because we track all that, we keep it all, and that's, I mean, one of the selling points to Hockey Canada was all this information they get on the back end. Like for instance, the head contact. Like, how do you know if that penalty is even working or not? So now in Canada, they keep, not only they keep track of the head contact, they can keep track of how many kids are leaving the game due to a head contact. So and there's actually a button on our game sheet where you can track, like, if a player leaves because of an injury, you can do a report up. Either you can type a report in, or you can do there's a voice recording for a report. And then, like, Eric wouldn't get flagged on Sunday night because everyone starts emailing him. He would get flagged instantaneously as that game is completed. You'd get flagged right away. I mean, it saves a lot of time. Like, even now, like, there's an option for, if you're reffing a game and you need a copy of the score sheet, you can add your email address before you lock the game out, and you'll get by the time you go to your phone, the score sheet's it's in a PDF format with all the signatures on it right in your phone already. It's already emailed to you.
I love that feature.
There's a lot of cool features that there are. They just it's new, right? I mean, we're trying to get away from, we're trying to go paperless, and it just takes time for, like I've had managers where, they weren't sure about about using it, so they'll do it paper, and then a Sunday night they go home and now they have to input it manually. And it's like, geez, I didn't realize how easy it was. I should have done this the entire game. It's just.
Well, we'd love a demo. If you want to come on, we'd do a demo, or we can come over and meet with you and videotape a demo of it, set something up, and make it happen and share that.
The beauty too, like I get our developer is Shane McCallan. He's written all the code for this. He's from BC. British Columbia, and he's the reason we're able to do a lot of the stuff, or they've been able to do and implement a lot of the features, is because not only did he play, but he's also a referee. So he kind of, when we talk about something, we're not talking to a developer in another country that's never seen ice skates before,
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
I think I know what you're referring to. Yes, I have a feeling I get it.
I don't want to demean anybody.
No, but they just wouldn't understand hockey. You need to understand what you're working on.
So if for instance, if you thought this would be a great feature, we could talk about it. We could get Shane on the line, or the guys on the line, and everyone knows what you're talking about. It's not like we're all hockey guys. These guys are, they all played it. They all grew up playing it. They still watch it. They ref, they coach. I mean, everyone that's involved has been involved in the game at some level. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool app, I'll tell you right now. And let's plan a date, and these guys would be more than happy to get on with you.
Yeah, maybe we could do that after, you finish up with your nationals, when it slows down a little bit this spring or summer, and get it ready. And that way the guys will be in tune with it for the coming season, and see some of the, the modifications that have been made and things that they should look for when they're actually filling out the score sheet and making sure everything is done properly. They'll know where to find everything. So I think that'd be great, because nobody's actually had a chance to sit down in a locker room and play with that and really figure out what you're doing. They know how to sign. They know how to, go over to the bench and check the penalties that they need to check, and move forward from there. I'm curious too.
The biggest issue we have is when a player gets a 10-minute misconduct. And the first, and this is, we're trying to train the scorekeepers as well. So when you're scrolling through to put the penalty in, game misconduct comes up first instead of, so what we're doing now, so now they're moving that penalty to the bottom of the page. So the misconduct comes before the GM, just so there's no mistake, because then I'd have to go back, because if he plays, let's say he got a 10-minute misconduct today, and he's got a game tomorrow, but it shows up as a game misconduct. When they go to fill out the score sheet tomorrow, his name is going to be redded out, because he's got to serve a penalty. He's got to serve a game misconduct. So then that's where I've got to call. I got to call the referee in chief. I got to call the league official, Jill, who runs the league, and show them where this needs to be corrected. Because then I have access to go in and change that from a game misconduct to a 10-minute misconduct. But, you're changing, the system keeps track of the original score sheet, but we're trying to update it, and it'll show, then, if Eric goes in, he'll see on the notes, there's a flag where the game sheet was edited, and you can go right, and then he'll see, oh yeah, that's right. It was a misconduct, not a game misconduct.
Well, does it show, for example, let's say you put in, if we're following the USA Hockey rules, we're following, the recommendations from that. So let's say you have a penalty that's a head contact. Does it automatically know to put the misconduct underneath that? It should, because those two penalties are tied together. Head contact comes with an automatic misconduct, should just go right on the sheet. And then they should have a way of knowing, if a player has 4 penalties, an alert box pops up. That's his 4th penalty, game ejection.
And that's also a good point that you make, Scott. I had one over the weekend, and it's, the 10-minute misconduct. The scorekeeper put it in there that it was a misconduct, right? She got the right one, But when you have the penalties for charging and boarding and checking from behind, they have their own misconducts that say misconduct, head contact, misconduct, checking from behind. So you have to go down and select the right one.
Yeah, it should just tie together. Once you go head contact, it should come up head contact misconduct, and both lines would fill, because then there's no mistake.
I'll be giving Shane a call in the morning.
And then the counting of the penalties. If they hit 4, I'm with
and then
you.
like once it hits 4 penalties, an alert box, that player has 4 penalties, alert the referee as to what needs to happen so that, they know they're ejected.
I think a cool feature would be...
What's that?
Go ahead, Gino. I'll let you talk and then I'll go.
No,
we can't see each other.
These are things that we could easily make happen, but you guys, we need your feedback. This is great feedback because they're not the same rules and they're not the same. It's not the same in Canada, and this is like ours is geared towards U.S. So.
Well, they probably need to, what they should do is put in what set of rules you're playing under. Are you playing under the Canadian rule book, or are you playing under the USA rule book? And
just a drop down tab.
Yeah, I know, but right.
But then,
anyway.
But then you'd have people picking
idea.
the Canadian rules, and then they'd be getting through halfway through the game and be like, we need to change this. So make sure that wouldn't be something that would have to be edited. But another cool feature would be is when you get the score sheet sent to you, if you're the referee, if you could upload a video, because almost everybody goes and watches the video now after their game if they have something happen.
Right.
You might as well collect that data if somebody's willing to give it to you.
Well, they're going to go to live, most likely Live Barn to get it if they're going to do it. I mean, you can do that within the USA Hockey site. You can add a video to it. So if you wanted to grab a clip. Let me ask you this too, Gino. As far, do you think, you talk about the injury penalties, match penalties. Do you feel they're severe enough or not severe enough?
It just depends on what the altercation is, right? I saw a kid slash. There was a slashing altercation on the weekend.
Oh, I know about that one.
You take it into context. Was it severe enough for 30 days, or is 2 weeks before a hearing good enough, or and it depends on the club. Like at our club, I deal with those right away. Like I come down as those don't need to go to rules and ethics or wherever, because we don't put up with anything like that at our club, and it just depends. But it depends on the age and the severity. I mean, the ref sees what he sees, but sometimes it's he's just catching the end of it, or he didn't see what had gone on during a play, or doesn't never really it's like the kid's getting speared in the cup all the way up the ice, and then there's finally a whistle. Now the kid that's getting speared jacks the kid, and that's all the ref saw, right? It's almost it's
well, that's the beauty of having instant replay. I'm familiar with that penalty you're referring to. I know about that. But, like the one coach, he's like, well, can't we just go look at Live Barn and like assess this now? And it's like, well, that's what they take care of. We don't have instant replay.
No, I know.
They'll look at the replay and then they'll inform you as to what happened, obviously. Then they'll be able to work it out. But you can't get all the numbers when you got 4 or 5 scrums and you got 2 officials out there. You cannot get all the numbers. That's really the problem. You get the major, you try to get whoever like instigated it, and you try to get the person that like did the thing that they shouldn't have done, basically. So
right,
and I agree. Like I certain penalties, I don't think it's worth 30 days. I don't. Certain penalties, I think, are absolutely worth 30 days because it could have been really bad. So that's where we have good hockey people.
I remember years ago, 7, 8 years ago, one of my midget coaches wanted to send a video in on a match altercation. I'm like, all right, that exonerates the one match, but you think they're just going to watch that play? Like, look at what happened beforehand. There's like 2 other guys might be in line for match penalties. Like, pick your poison. You know, I mean, you know, yeah, it's great to have video, but you know, sometimes you're going to regret what you send in because, you know, you guys aren't, you know, whoever's watching it is not, they're going to watch the play. Like now, look, you know, I can remember, I think it was a goalie got suspended, and then we had like 3 or 4 other kids that had helmets off, throwing punches, and they didn't get anything. Like, okay, so what about these guys? I know you're trying to get your goalie
just
off,
open up a can of worms.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then my recommendation is, hey, it is what it is. Don't send the video in because you're going to lose a lot more players than you thought you were going to lose.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, I know you have to go to your board meeting. I don't know if you could stay on a couple more minutes or not, but
I can stay on a couple more minutes.
Everybody, this is Gino Cavallini, hockey director for Mission. Did I get that right? Is that the full title, or are you like president, chief executive officer, and?
I wear all that. The only hat, I'm the president, hockey director. The only thing I don't do is drive a Tamboni anymore.
Well, I will tell you, if you don't know Gino and you walk into Fifth Third, hardest working guy in hockey. I see you putting the bags of jerseys in the back of the car to take to the seamstress to get the patches, the crest sewn on them and everything. Like, he does everything. So, you know, water coming into the referee room, guess where it's coming from? Gino's personally carrying it into the referee room. So, you know, I give you a lot of credit for that, Gino. I know how hard you work on behalf of your players and your organization, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
And I personally want to thank you in public to everybody when we had that 6 overtime game 2 years ago, and you were bringing us bananas as the referees and waters and was keeping an eye out for us because we appreciate that, and it goes a heck of a long way to us. Yeah. So thank you so much.
I'm glad we don't go down that road anymore. Jeez, Murphy.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I know. We do. It's like we're all a family, right? We got to make it all work together. I get up. I was on a couple of I get on a couple of USA hockey calls with other districts, and you know, in the fall they're talking about, oh, we got to grow the game, and you know, I'm like, I brought up at the time, like, you guys are missing the point. You're not growing anything if you don't find more referees, all right? Because you can't play a game if you don't have enough officials. So let's figure this part of it out. Before you want to add more players, let's add more referees so we can have games in 3 or 4 years. And they're like, oh, yeah, we never even thought about that. I'm like, yeah, that's how do you have a game? Like, I can't, like you guys said, you had a couple of coaches on the ice that could barely keep up because they're not used to that kind of pace. You know, like I can run a practice, but I'm not going to go up and down the ice, you know, freaking flying like the way you guys have to, especially like watching you guys at seven bridges on the Olympic rink. I mean,
that game was very fast on Saturday. And it went into overtime, and I had a penalty shot in overtime.
That's like a 2-hour workout. Like, come on, man. That's, you know, and then you guys are there for, you know, 2, 3, 4 games at a time like that.
12 hours. I was there 12 hours on Saturday, Gino.
That's
I saw Gino on Saturday too.
Yeah. All right, before we let you go, I got one more question for you.
Sure.
With the new rules, what's your thoughts on the no tag up offside, can't ice the puck on the penalty kill? Do you have an opinion on that and the shorter penalty times?
Well, the shorter penalty times, I kind of get that. I mean, let the kids. It's for the younger. You know, there's usually not any major infractions at those younger birth years anyway. Let them play.
Yep.
As far as that touch, I'm. You know, I understand. I understand, and you know what? We got to coach the players. Like, that's not. You know, the ADM guys and the people that came up with that, the touchback or the lack of it. I just think that at the midget level, like we're preparing players for junior hockey, you know, it should be a similar game. But I'm not opposed to it. I understand, like at our club, like, you know, we've been fortunate here in Chicago the last 15 years. This whole generation of young hockey players watched a puck possession team win Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. So, you know, we mold our teams over that kind of concept. Puck possession, you don't dump it in, we carry it in. And so I don't have a problem with that. As far as the icing,
How about this question? Prior to this no icing rule, I never understood why when you get a penalty, you're penalized, you're short a man, but now you can ice the puck when you're even strength, you're not, like, it's supposed to be punitive.
Yeah.
Like, I never understood, there was never, there's no place to ask those questions, but now you can have that kind of debate where, I don't mind it, tell you the truth. And a lot of people don't like not being able to ice the puck, but, for our defensemen and for our players, we're trying to teach them how to make better decisions, and icing it. And this is speaking from a tier 1 level. Like, I don't know how much value those new rules are at, let's say, the house level, where it's recreational. The kids just want to have fun. Now you're slowing the game down. Now they're not having as much fun. Like, what are those kids aspiring? They just want to have fun, play a game, right? So like, it's got to be a lot tougher. And like, who can teach puck possession at those levels? Like, they're sharing ice, even at the tier 2 level, where, like, we feel like we've got the best coaches. And I'm not saying that there's not good coaches out there, but like, it's a tough aspect of the game to teach puck possession and, what your options are. And now you don't have the best players that you're trying to teach it to. It's a conundrum. It's not, I don't think it's what everyone thought it was going to be. But then again, like, I don't mind it. I see the value in it at our level. And, my guys, I had one guy that complained about it. I'm like, hey, if you don't like it, find another place to coach. Like, this is what we're teaching the kids. It falls right into our game plan of puck possession anyway, just deal with it.
I got a good question, Gino. I saw a tier 2 midget team, and when they would go off sides because they can't dump it back in, the D would cycle around and pull back and pass it to their own goaltender. And then everybody would get out of the zone, and then the goalie would flip. I thought of that, and I'm like, what? They're like defeating the entire purpose of what they're trying to do. Am I correct in the ADM there? Because you want the players to handle the puck and come up with a creative solution, not just launch it back to your goaltender, right? Or am I missing the point of that rule? That was just something I saw.
I mean, that might be a creative solution as well. I'd like to see how that works. Maybe we'll implement it, but I mean,
Brad's giving him strategy for nationals.
I'll send you what.
There's different ways to skin the cat.
I'm not trying to help anybody. I just saw it, and I'm like, the idea is to get creative plays with the defensemen and to keep possession and to cycle back and everybody get together and not dump and chase over and over again. And I just saw that, and I was like, what a way around it. Like, I give the guy credit that his kids were doing it, but then I thought, boy, could you imagine in playoffs when somebody puts it over there and they Steve Smith it? I'm like, I don't want to be there for that day. But no, I mean, I was just curious on what your thought process was on it. I'm not trying to help anybody, so coaches out there.
Yeah. All right.
No, but I mean, hey, nothing's off the table when it comes to, trying to implement new strategies and teach players new things. So, we're an open book at our club. We'll listen. There's no bad ideas, or for the most part, there aren't.
One last question before we let you go, Gino. So Blackhawks are looking for a general manager. Who would you like to see have that position, or do you have an idea of who a good front-runner candidate might be that they should be looking at?
I have no idea. Honestly,
Okay, that's fair.
I honestly, I haven't really given it much thought.
Okay. Good answer.
I know they've interviewed a couple of really good people so far per their, Twitter and, social media, but I mean, I know Scott Mellenby's a great person, and Chiarelli is, he's done a good job where he's been, but I have no, what, for me, hire the best person available.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, Gino Cavallini joining us here on the Ref Room. Gino, thank you so much for taking time out to do this. I hope we can get you back on. I know a little bit of the technical difficulty, but next time we'll get you an iPad so you can come on or whatever, and
Yeah, maybe
we'll get to see.
I'll have my hair. I'll have my hair back then.
Yeah. By the way, did you like the pink hair or do you like the shaved head? Which is a better look for you?
The better look is the shaved head. The pink,
so
although my wife thinks the pink hair suits me, it doesn't.
Tell everybody how much you raised and what that was all for. Because if you didn't see Gino had pink hair for a while, and now he's got a shaved head, but he raised a lot of money in the process. So give a plug to the charity for that.
You know what? There was the American Cancer Society. The girls put on this. Our girls and the CYA girls put on this Pink in the Rink. We've done it for 14 years, and the girls raised total little over $71,000.
Wow!
And I had, part of it, they've asked me the last 4 or 5 years if I'd shave my head for donations, and we were able to raise a little over almost $9,000 for my head to get shaved. So that was
that's a pretty good haircut right there. $9,000 haircut, Gino.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, thank you for doing that. I know it's going to benefit a lot of people, just like all your work does. So, again, thanks for being on the show. We'll look forward to seeing you in one of the buildings soon, I'm sure. And
oh, yeah, for sure.
Everybody, the legendary Gino Cavallini joining us on the Ref Room, everybody.
Thanks, Gino.
All right, Gino.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks so much. All right, my friend. Have a good day. Okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Oh, man. We could talk to him for days. I mean, he's just full of knowledge. So,
yep.
How was your week? We wanted to cover a couple things. I mean, did you have any excitement over the weekend? Lots of hockey going on?
We had a penalty shot in the overtime game, which, kind of interesting. And Tier 1 hockey, you have a guy get away on a breakaway, and I believe it was 4-on-4 at that point. I can't remember. It was already that long ago. But guy definitely hooked the guy. We had to replace that scoring opportunity. Yep. And we did, and they still didn't score. But, it was a good game overall. And then we had the U18s right afterwards. So it was a full weekend for me. I don't know about you. I had a game cancel on Sunday, which
lucky you.
I hung out with my family for the while, so that was fun. Okay. But other than that, I didn't have anything too crazy happen. I don't know if you did. It's a busy
weekend. I know about that slashing call that he was talking about. I won't go into detail on it, but I do know about that one. And the only thing I want to remind guys about, it is playoff time. And you should have received an email reminding you to show up minimum a half hour before your game. Not after the puck is dropped at a championship AAA game. Especially when you weren't coming from another game, okay? So, if you're not going to be there on time, you need to text somebody. You need to call somebody. You need to let people know they shouldn't be chasing you down to find out if you're going to be showing up at all. Because teams have traveled from Detroit and Chicago, and they'd like to go home. They have a 5 or 6 hour ride home. And
not the Chicago guys, but
not the Chicago. Well, depending on traffic.
It depends on where you live in Chicago too. You never know.
Right. But yeah, that's my little soapbox stance for today that I have to jump up on and make it a point to say something, because it is not cool. It is not cool to your partner. It is not cool to the teams. It is not cool to the players or the coaches or anybody else that has so much riding on that. And
Also remember, it is playoffs. So remember, teams are playing the next day, or some teams aren't playing the next day. So just keep that in the back of your head when you're going out on the ice. Yeah. So it's a big responsibility, especially at this time of the year. And I don't think anybody wants to become a video. So maybe check your rule books, go over some things that you might not know, and go out there the best that you can and the most equipped as you can by
work hard,
studying and working hard. That's the biggest things. Yep. Everybody's going to give you a good praise if you work your tail off.
That's right.
So,
and when's the time for referees to shine? After the whistle, when you go pick that puck up and return it. Okay, hustle, guys. Work hard. Have fun out there. Put a smile on your face. You don't have to look like you're a serial killer out there.
Yeah, you know what? With that, somebody could buy us some coffee, couldn't they, Scott?
They could. Put a smile
happy.
on our face. We need caffeine, right?
There you go.
So if you want to do that, all you have to do is go to buymeacoffee.com/refroom, and you can buy us a coffee. We might change that to a beer now that we're doing nighttime, or at least pizza. Maybe we'll go to pizza.
That would work.
Buy us a slice of pizza. Buy me a slice.
Buy me a slice. All
right.
right.
Get a slice.
Other than that, we are going to be moving off of Facebook.
Yes.
So don't forget to go to youtube.com/c/refroom. That's the best way to watch it. We still got some people watching it on Facebook.
Yep.
We understand about that.
We do have, Carl was asking where's Gino? Well, Gino, I don't know where he was, to be honest with you, but he was on an Android phone and couldn't get into the show with that. So
we tried.
He knows now to at least bring an iPad or something for next time. We can at least find a way to get him in there. So, but he was kind enough to call in, and it works. I mean, didn't get to see his picture. Would have loved to have seen the former pink hair and stuff, but it is what it is. Michelle says, don't want to talk about my Saturday night. Okay. You must have had some excitement at your Saturday night game. Well, we can always talk about it. All you got to do is put it in the comments. We'll go there. So anyway, but thanks everybody for checking us out. We do this every Monday night at 5:30. I still want to say Wednesday, but it doesn't happen.
That's okay.
And we're not eating Mondays, 5:30 p.m. I hope that's a better time for you guys. I hope that works. If you haven't, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, give us a like. Smash the like button. It's not that difficult to do. Just reach over there with the point and give it a like. It helps.
Yep.
All right. Oh, well, let's see. Michelle says
she had an interesting night.
Ran clock down for third period and kicked out entire stand. Yeah. Empty them out. Yeah. Did you only empty out one half, or did you empty out both halves?
Wouldn't that be the whole stands then, Scott?
That would be the whole stand. Yeah. I almost came to that yesterday. I had a parent acting badly at a U8 or 9 game, whatever it was. It's a high level game. But I had parent acting bad.
You got your answer.
All of them. All of them. Get all of them out of there. All right, you go, Michelle. Don't take any of that. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Funny. Well, we have stories this time of year. That's all I can say. Brad and I haven't had enough chance to really catch up and go over some of this stuff. Michelle's not done yet. Michelle, in a game that meant nothing for either team, as both teams have already secured playoff spots. Okay, well, at least they secured a spot there, and not at the you're not playing anymore spot.
The early golf season spot?
Yes, the early tea time slot. 6:30 Saturday morning.
That's the best time.
Nah, not for me. It's a good time to come home, but not a good time to get up, okay?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, at least we can end it on the light note.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next Monday at 5:30 right here. This is the Ref Room. I am Scott Smokin Silz along with Brad Baumruck. Our special guest today was the legendary Gino Cavallini. We got a great guest coming up next week. You're not going to want to miss the show. Should we let the cat out of the bag? Is he confirmed for next Monday?
He is confirmed. If not, he'll be on the next week if we can't, but he's confirmed.
Well,
the email will go out tomorrow.
Why don't you tell him who it is then?
The former USA Hockey president, Jim Smith from Chicago, and he was the USA Hockey president, and he's offered to come on to the program and talk about some USA Hockey side of stuff.
6 years president, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of USA Hockey, and he's been on that board for like forever. So there's a guy that can really give us some insight as to, the workings of USA Hockey and their thought process when it comes to, rules, rule changes, officials, certification, and all kinds of good stuff. So it'll be a great show. Jim's got a great personality. He's going to be a lot of fun. So please join us for that one. And we got a couple other special guests already kind of lined up here. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but we got some good ones.
We're working hard. We're working hard. The phones have been very pleasant to us.
Brad's working hard after that whistle, okay? After the whistle, Brad's working hard. All right, guys. Have a great week. It's the Ref Room. We'll see you next week. Peace out.